Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good wherever the fuck you are and whatever time it happens to be. Uh, it's my pleasure to make your acquaintance, for you to lend me your listening ear. I come to you today with my annoyances, with my questions, with my heartfelt disdain for the cyclical nature of the same mistakes being made over and over again. In this instance, speaking about how repeatedly, over and over and over again throughout history, the absolute arrogance of adults or older people refusing to listen to the youth, uh, refusing to validate their experiences, refusing to understand that they have something worthwhile to contribute to society because of adults' own ego, their own insecurity, their own fear. Every generation of youth gets fucked up. They normalize that way of being, that way of relating to younger people, and then they fuck up the next generation, and the cycle just continues on and on and on and on. It amazes me how we really do not have many true leaders. I feel like I just feel like there is maybe it's a Western thing. I have no idea. I've never lived anywhere other than the U.S. But what causes you to be in a position of leadership and not feel required to hold space for people underneath you? Makes you feel like you're not required to listen to them when they present themselves and share things with you. Not, uh, you think it would be a requirement for a position that you'd think was about people, you know? It's, just never ceases to amaze me how we have so much historical record of adults placing things and organizations over caring for people. The people that make up and comprise organizations. We see the repeated mistake of it over time, yet it continues to happen. Even in churches, even in wisdom traditions, even in organizations, corporations, whatever you want to call it, any group of people, we see the same mistake get made over and over and over and over. Kids, younger people, they grow up not being valued, not being heard, not being listened to. Not only do they normalize that behavior and then do the same thing to their children, but because they felt they were never able to express themselves as youth, they become adults and begin to usually either unwrite or fight against everything the previous adults have put in place, trying to dismantle it so they can show their worth, show their insecurity, and feed their ego, which has been normalized to them. Or they try to keep around the ideas of the adults that raised them beyond their expiration date, refusing to innovate and continuing to reinforce the cycles and make mistakes because life has changed, and they refuse to adapt out of their own fear because they were never allowed to develop their sense of confidence in their ability to create and their ability to adapt and their ability to change in a way that uh, isn't change just for change's sake, but is the flow, moves and harmonizes with the times of the present moment. How many times are we going to read the history books and see like, oh, the younger people were right. The younger people had values and knew where things were going. They understood the times because they grew up in them. Just for some adults to be like, no, I'm not going to listen to you because you're younger. I'm not going to listen to you because I'm important, because I have these titles, because I have this super important position to do all of these things and ha ha ha, da la 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 la. If I hadn't reached the point of inner stability and acceptance and knowledge about humanity and the cycles we find ourselves in, it would be depressing. And in the past, I was depressed, from not being heard, not being listened to, and how that creates a sense of loneliness that you see in so many people around you. They feel compelled to talk. They feel compelled to prove they exist, to prove they're worth listening, to prove that they have something to contribute. Meanwhile, the stable person, a person who understands these karmic cycles of society, these karmic cycles of humanity, and how, frankly, idiotic they are. Of course, it's a result of ignorance, a result of dualistic thought, a result of insecurity and fear, which is ignorance, but it's still idiotic. And it's just how how many times are these same mistakes going to be made? How many books do you have to read? How many statistics do you have to see about younger kids being depressed and growing up feeling disdain for the adults around them? Like a large section of society, the youth, feel like in order to make things better, they just have to wait for the previous generations to die because the previous generations won't give them a fair say in shaping the society that they're going to have to live in for an extended period of time, disrespecting their experiences, acting like they don't have anything worthwhile to say. That they have to, it's amazing to me that so many adults get in positions of leadership, which is for most adults because they're not actually leaders. They get these titles within organizations and they just want to see kids suffer. They just want to see the youth suffer in the same way that they did. It's very sadistic. It's very, and whether it is on purpose or not on purpose, it's very sad, very, very appalling to look at, to witness this arrogance and lack of humility that hurts the most vulnerable people, the most vulnerable humans, children, and fucks up their nervous system, fucks up their reality, how they see life, and then they have to spend the rest of their life suffering because of the lack of attention and care they got from the adults and authority figures in their life, and the cycle of bullshit just continues. It just, the hamster wheel, the rat race, it just keeps going. And it just amazes me how you can tell that we don't live in a society based solely on meritocracy. Because if we did, then more people in positions of leadership with titles would actually be qualified and actually show the qualities that led to the enhancement of their organizations, of their hierarchies, their societies, their environments. Instead, what usually happens is you have one true leader show up who has moral values and strong principles and is about people first and foremost, understands how to reach people, understands how to, uh, I hate to say the word use people, but let people use themselves, let people help in the way that they are best suited to. But they can only realize what people are best suited to by actually listening to them, by actually humbling themselves enough to think that this person is worth listening to and that they have something to contribute, because a true leader knows that everyone does. And a true leader knows that it takes a team. It takes an organization. It takes organizing all of the myriad human spirits that populate this earth, this world, in order to build something sustainable, something great, something that connects people rather than divides them. And usually, once this true leader dies or has to pass on leadership roles because of old age or being tired, they have someone follow behind them that just doesn't have the right stuff. They just unfortunately fall right back into the cycle of putting things over people, being attached to certain ideas rather than knowing that non-attachment to ideas and concepts allows you to adapt and change and grow as is necessary, as is needed. They don't have any vision for the future. They're too focused on bringing this one specific idea to life, this particular idea that they think is great and awesome, rather than having the wherewithal to understand how to achieve overall goals, big picture goals, which might include seeing that project to fulfillment, but also might include uh, using that project as the foundation for working around the edges in a way that molds it into a shape that can actually help the people who it's supposed to affect, the young. I just see it all the time. I just, I've experienced it. It's just, it's very sad. You see it in business, you read about it in business, you see it in sports, you read about it in sports, you read about it throughout history. It's like, I just, I just hope for better. And I hope, and I just pray, I just pray. I pray every day that my heart is humble enough that if I get in a position to coach or lead or to affect a large group of people, that I humble myself to listen to them, to know that they have value and that, their ideas have value. Even if I don't necessarily agree, they'll know that I have heard them out. I've opened my heart to them. And I think that a lot of times people just want to be heard. People just want to be seen. People want to be acknowledged. And the fact that so many people in this society feel like people have to prove that they deserve to be acknowledged. It's sad. And they deserve to be listened to, like the fact that the universe hasn't conspired for millions of years for this person to come into existence isn't enough reason to listen to them, to open your heart to them. That doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with them or you approve of them, but you accept them and meet them where they're at. I just hope for better, man. I just like, I ultimately I accept it. because I'm not in control of this life. I'm not in control of the universe, which has allowed me to move past being sad, being angry, being depressed, and have a laugh about it. And, laugh at myself, laugh at society, laugh at just the fact that so many of the people that think they have so much figured out just, it's a disconnect. And, ultimately, I can't judge people. These are just general observations that I've had from reading, watching, seeing how things have worked throughout my life, seeing how other people have been affected. And ultimately, I also pray that like, this is not from a place of arrogance or ego on my part, not a feeling that I have the answers or I have everybody should listen to me. Everybody should listen to everybody, in one sense, you know, or at least feel people are worth listening to, especially if they're supposed to be on your team or under your leadership umbrella. Um, I don't know. I just seems like all the messianic figures and greatest leaders and all that kind of stuff, they were very much so about people, and not just talking about uh, people who gain power in the traditional sense of taking it or murder or manipulation or, that kind of stuff, but people that brought communities together based on shared values, made people feel like they were worth something. Yeah, I mean, this is part of my journey is learning what is the difference between an observation and a judgment. But I can say I'm definitely just personally biased against older generations because it seems like they're always the ones fucking shit up, and I can't blame anyone because the cycle, this wheel of suffering, the cycle of samsara has been cycling for millennia. It started when the universe started. There's nothing to fight against, nothing to compete with, but you just have to accept it and just try to make the best decisions you can to benefit yourself, which benefits others, and to see others as yourself. So listening to them and listening to yourself, listening to the nature, listening to everything, allowing everything to fit into its proper place of where it's supposed to be. But, I just think about why when I was coaching soccer, everybody was like, "Oh, Keith, the kids love you, man. They just love being on your team. They love when you coach them." I remember one kid's parents. They say he opened up at practice in the way that he never opened up at school and stuff. I was like, bro, I really just be listening to them. I just be open to their experiences. I just ask them questions. I don't compete with them. I don't force them to do anything. I don't beat them over the head with direction all the time because I'm not afraid of their growth and their development. I'm not afraid to see them have to go through things and make mistakes because it's literally the process of how they're going to become who they're supposed to be. Plus, I just, I don't know, am I more well researched, more informed about human psychology? Maybe, probably not. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe. I've read a lot of books and shit on it, listened to a lot of videos. Or do I just remember and connect? Do I just have really good memory about how it felt when I was younger and I felt no one listened to me and no one cared about what I had to say and that the authority of figures around me? Uh, or basically, I felt they were doing a bad job, but then you look at life and society, you try to convince yourself that they're doing a good job because that's who you're supposed to listen to, right? So, I just want to make sure like none of the kids got to prove shit to me. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got to prove shit to themselves. Like, just be, bro. Just live, man. Like, continue to grow, continue to trust yourself and trust that the body itself is designed to grow. The body itself is designed to learn as long as you allow it to, as long as you let it. And that is the humility that every leader needs. Not saying that I know everything, and really I don't even like to lead or be in charge because I don't like dealing with people. that much. You know what I'm saying? But increasingly as I get older, I'm just like, fuck, maybe I should be in charge. Like, what the hell these other people got going on? And I just keep getting, I'm an idealist. You know what I'm saying? And I know that about myself. I'm an idealist. I'm an optimist, but I also like to think I'm a realist. I think it's realistic to believe that people can grow and do better and change. I've experienced myself. I've seen it. And, I just, maybe I should just, they say if you want anything done, you got done right, you got to do it yourself. I would like to uh, say that's false and that, oh, everything gets done within a team framework, we're much stronger collaborating than we are one person trying to be in charge. But sometimes, there are leaders that end up in charge just because they just are the most competent. And then I'm getting older and Chrissy being like, I seen this post on YouTube. They're like, if you're an introvert and you ended up in a leadership position, what happened? And it's basically like, you were just tired of seeing other people fuck it up. Like, you didn't want to be in charge. You didn't want to be heard. You didn't want to be seen. But you just like, well, shit, somebody's got to do it right. I don't know. I just, I honestly, I just hope to be put in a position to serve, the universe. I know I'm serving the universe right now by trying to get my shit together, trying to gain a deeper and more stable relationship with myself, which gives me a more stable and deeper relationship with the universe. But, I just pray for continued humbleness because humility is the key to everything. It's the key to learning, the key to listening, the key to not taking yourself so seriously and knowing that you actually do have something to contribute and not getting upset or being mad and accepting when other people don't want to listen because ultimately humility lets you know you're not in control. The higher power, however you define that or look at that, is ultimately always in control. So that's my little rant, my little airing of grievances, which I've done so many times over the years. It's like, oh man, the older people suck. They're always fucking wrong. It just takes the collaboration of older and younger people to build a better society. So it just amazes me how older people just fuck that up over and over again. Like, I'm not as gung ho about it as I was younger. When I was younger, I was like, oh man, all these motherfuckers just need to die. And then yeah, it's joking, of course, but then you're like, oh, these old motherfuckers need to get out the way, which I still believe in, but also like it just needs to be a sense of collaboration, of working together, like of you not failing to see younger people or failing to validate their experiences because you're insecure. Like, like all this gatekeeping bullshit. Like our society is based around gatekeeping. If you're gatekeeping and you're not gonna give younger people or other people the sauce that they need to grow, or you're not gonna give them the care and attention that they need to grow because you want to secure your idea of what success looks like or whatever that is. First off, fuck you. Second off, it comes from a place of fear and insecurity. So how could you be any type of competent leader? You know what I'm saying? It just, well, hope you guys are doing all right. I'm doing excellent, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I can talk about these things and not be upset by them because they are what they are. You know what I'm saying? I accept these things for what they are, and I can only make sure that my heart and head and gut is in alignment with what I believe. Um, so, hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Wait, what? Will that be a copyright violation if I say that? But thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Oh my God, what a fucking concept. And I hope that we all remain humble enough to listen. I hope that I remain humble enough to listen because I'm the only person that can make sure I do that. And it reminds me of I'm not Christian, but it reminds me I did it. Me and my friend we did like a live podcast where we talked about the the importance of engaging your community, voting, all that kind of stuff. But it was at a church, and the pastor was reading about Jesus and the healing power of listening. And I think listening does have a healing power. Your ability to listen to others, if we're to be like Jesus, if we're to be like these figures who have shown up throughout history and showed us how to relate to others, humble yourself, listen. If Jesus was humble enough to listen to those he knew needed to be listened to which was everybody, he didn't have to agree or whatever, but he accepted and listened. And if you're a leader and you're not learning about people, about everything else, if you don't have the humility to listen, if you're in such a rush that you can put projects over people, the title, you just have a title, you're not really a leader. You're just in charge of some shit. I just pray that more people realize this. Cause I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of seeing kids go through this. I'm tired of seeing younger people feel like they're constantly getting put down or pushed to the side because these insecure adults, God bless them as well, not judging them, but just observing, fear and the complexes that lead to you feeling like I don't have time for people. This it's crazy, bro. It's crazy, bro. Like, what is your job? I'm not even, I go on a tangent right now. But I appreciate you guys listening. Much blessings. I pray for humility for my heart. I pray for a listening ear for everybody. And I also pray that I understand my capacity to listen past the, the disgustingness that is being in a constant rush because I'm afraid to die. So I don't give life the proper value, and I don't give people and all the manifestations of life, the trees, the grass, the sky, the children, the older people. I pray I don't get in such a rush that I never can stop and take time to listen to somebody who deserves to be listened to. So yeah, man, I hope that we can create a world that's just full of more space for people to feel valued, and to, most time people just want to be heard. They know what they're gonna do. They know what it is, and they just want to get their shit off. Or like, or you should come with follow-up questions. How are people talking to you and you're not asking them follow-up questions? You're not engaging with them. And then they have the nerve to act like younger people need to bend over backwards to try and get their approval to do some shit. Like the younger people, this is what I really respect about young people. Younger people are bypassing the gatekeepers. They are using technology to be like, fuck it, we'll just link up with each other and do it ourselves. And they always have. And it's just intensifying. And they're inspiration to me, a 31-year-old, you know? Why am I waiting for permission to do something I know that I have the proficiency to do already? So I'm chilling. Let life give me the gift of what it's supposed to give me. And let me have the intelligence and humility to receive it and not to go against the flow of the universe, trying to rush forward when you can only move at the speed and pace that the universe designed you to. So might as well enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, love the process, love life. The night air is pretty sweet. Not too chilly, not too hot. It's a nice breeze. The moon is out and bright. I trust. I'm trustful and I'm thankful. Thanks for listening.